Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuff here. Emergency beer. Hectic beer. Time-sensitive beer. Treehouse. This be their green machine. Why is this a... What's the word I'm looking for? Like... A time bomb of beer. Let's put it that way. There's a pinhole in this thing. It's squirting beer somewhere. Not so much anymore. Anyway, this beer comes courtesy of my boy George. Not Boy George from Culture Club, but my boy George. You know who I'm talking about. Massive Troll Reviews. He ended up popping down here into my area. We hung out and had a couple beers, ripped and wrapped. He gave me a couple beers. This is one of them. It was in my backpack. It fell out. It leaked a little. Now we're reviewing it. That's how this goes. We have Green Machine from Treehouse Brewing Company. American Double IPA coming at 8.4% alcohol by volume. Brewed in Massachusetts by Treehouse Brewing Company. Your printing's getting a little bit sloppy here, Treehouse. It's not on point. And by that I mean, like, we have white on green. It's like a little fuzzy edges. Just digital printing on here is just not the best. We have a can on date of 1/1. So Happy New Year. And this is their juice machine, but their green version of juice machine. I assumed this would explode because it fell out of my bag, but it's been a good half hour plus since it happened, so we're good to go. Label-wise, honestly, I've always loved Juice Machine. I've loved the art design behind this, the whole nine, so definitely works for me. Yeah, something about, what's that, Lost in Space, kind of Danger Will Robinson kind of thing going on there, so anyway, I dig it. Beer-wise, man, you want to talk about butternut squash soup. That is what this beer looks like. I mean, on camera it has this kind of weird alien gray kind of density to it, but it is just block out all forms of light and just be this turbid, like just thick of haze. I mean, off-white head, just big, huge, just boisterous amounts, copious amounts of turbidity. Those are words. If I go like that, it looks better, but back here, that's kind of what it really looks like. So, yeah, we're off to a thick start. It's good nose. Yeah, I mean, it smells like the kind of like pseudo inside of a like Mylar bag of hop keef. That's kind of what's going on here. I mean, there's fruit portions of the show here. There's tropical fruit. There's a mango, pineapple, kiwi, orange kind of like thing going on here, but it's all wrapped around this really dank, super resinous, super hopped, ultra dry hopped kind of greenness. Without being ultra harsh. That's a cool trick it kind of pulls off here, and that you can tell there's like a super heavy dose of hops here. It's like almost a point where you feel like you're gonna drink like particulate in your mouth when you actually swallow this beer. But it has this shaved edge to it. It has this kind of softness on the bare edges of it that kind of makes you think, okay, maybe this might be like some kooky badooky, like world-class bonkersness. But in the grand scheme of things, it is saturation on saturation on saturation. That's kind of pretty much what's going on here. In a very green kind of way. Like the, Juice Machine, I haven't had, like, I assume they made a Julius version of this. It just has this kind of resinous green kind of thing going on, but in a very Vermonty kind of way, not in like a mean mugging kind of West Coast kind of way. Let's just dive in. Cheers, y'all. Yeah, I mean, it has just this density to its mouthfeel, and I think that is just hops. They're just dosing it. Obviously, there's more to it than that. There is a decent amount of oats and all those things that make hazy IPAs full without giving you a huge malt profile, but it is the kind of copious amounts of hops that are really kind of doing this beer a kind of propping upness, for the lack of a better term. You get this green, like if you've ever huffed a bag of hops, that's kind of what you're getting, but it's not in your nose, it's actually in your mouth, so you're like mouth huffing. Sounds kind of pornographic, but we'll stick with it. Of just heavy dose of green level hops. It's not like super over the top West Coasty. There's a ton of sea going on here. There's a ton of Cascade, Chinook, like all those, or at least the vibes of those hops coming along with this resinous, this weediness, the ranky-dankiness, a bit of scalioniness. But it's all very much coming from a core of fruitiness, a core of, again, that pineapple, kiwi, mango / stone fruity kind of combination. It just makes this beer like an assault on the senses, almost at a point where it's a little bit just too much for me, to be perfectly honest with you. I love this kind of level of hops. I mean, it's very fun to have this kind of like 2x4 to the face, just copious amounts of hops going on. But when you combine the mouthfeel, which is super dense, super thick, and super heavy, the hop portion of the show here, very green, very dense, very thick. You know, the fruit portion of the show, which is, again, there, but it almost takes a back seat, not because it's not boisterous, because all those other parts are very, very volumetric. It's almost like this beer needs even more time. You're talking about a month now. It's February 1st, so this came out on, or it was at least canned on January 1st, so you're talking about 30 days on this beer. I almost feel like it needs another 30. But at that point, I think you're starting to deal with a little bit more kind of negative traits. You know, hop creep starts to creep in. Other things start to kind of develop on this beer. So I think it's just more of a too much for the sake of too much kind of beer going on. You know, like, I love garlic. I am the person that, I'm not unique in this. I think a lot of us do that. But when a recipe calls for 4 cloves of garlic, I put 8. You know, because garlic is so good. But there's only so far you can go with that. You know, there's only so far you can go with, like, just ultra heavy dosing of ingredients you love so much. You know, whether it be hops, MSG, weed, garlic, saison, not saison, saison. That's what I meant to say, saison. If you don't know what saison is, then anyway. You know, there's only so much you can go with all these ingredients, and it's kind of like the thing where, you know, peanut butter tastes delicious, but if you eat like 40 spoons of peanut butter, you're like, my stomach hurts, why did I do that? That's too much. And that's kind of what I feel like is going on here, is that there's just too much. There's just an oversaturation of what they're trying to pull off, or what they're trying to champion is probably a better way to put it, because these flavors are what makes really, really well done, really good hazy IPA, like, top notch. You know, it's that resinous, it's that fruitiness, all those things. But when you kind of compartmentalize them, or no, comprise them, or I'm trying to think of the better word here. Stack. We'll just go with stack. Stack them on top of each other. Like, I'm giving you all of this, and all of this, and all of this. It just makes for such a loud and unbalanced beer that, while fun and kind of like electric in a kind of weird, my hair's on fire kind of way, it just lacks that nuance and that goodness that these showy hazies tend to be when they're on their game, for the lack of a better term. I think we're done. It contains everything you want from a top-notch, world-class, heavy-duty hazy IPA, except it goes beyond in every aspect of it, to the point where it's a little bit more a practice in opulence more than deliciousness, for the lack of a better explanation. value and availability, I actually don't know. Those y'all out there who do know, please let me know and leave you with, if you like what we like this. If you want all the hops are belong to us, Haze Boys are the thing, and I am the biggest hop thought of all the hop thoughts. I think you'll like this. It's almost like I want to take this and blend it with other hazies to kind of make those beers be more. That's kind of works for me. If you dig on Ultra Haze, you'll love this. But it's a cool beer in practice, just to actually drink it and taste it and see what this kind of like level of like almost like beer concentrate is, and still be kind of like really good and tasty in its own right, just a little bit too much. Treehouse, have you been to their 47 breweries? Have you been to this brewery? Can't see where this is from. Munson or Charlton, whichever one they're at now. Have you been there? Have you had this beer? What are your thoughts on this beer if you've had this? I'm very curious. I'll tap it some more. All that fun stuff down there. Hopefully you enjoyed the review. Hopefully you're enjoying a little bit of Treehouse right now. Hope to see you next time. Trees, y'all.